Hi y'all, it's Lori. Thanks so much for stopping by. As some of you might know, if you've seen some of my other videos, you know that we fund our boat life with rental properties. I am a full-time real estate investor, and that is how we earn the money to fund our boat life. And today, we've got a problem, and it might be a big problem. I don't know how big of a problem it's gonna be. But I thought it would be not fun, because this is definitely not the fun side of being a real estate investor, but I thought it might be interesting to take y'all along and let you see some of the challenges that come along with being a real estate investor. So let's do this. Since this is the first time anything like this has ever happened to me as an investor, let me give you a little bit of a backstory first. In one of my rent houses, I've had a tenant in place for just over a year. He just signed his second year lease a couple of months ago. So let's see, today is November 10th. And of course, his rent was due on the 1st of November. And it showed that there was a transaction pending for payment on the 1st of November, just like it does on the 1st of every single month. However, on the 3rd of November, I was notified that the payment failed. So his rent payment did not go through. Now, this doesn't happen very often, but it does happen from time to time, every once in a while. With this specific tenant, it has happened once before. It was early last year in 2020. He had some unexpected expenses come up and he was going to be late on his rent. In that circumstance, he called me. He called me on the 1st of the month to tell me that he couldn't pay it. He couldn't pay it for a few days. We came to an agreement. We worked out terms. He paid as agreed. He got all caught up. Everything was fine. No problem, no harm, no foul. So we just keep moving on with our life. Everything is good. So my first thought was maybe something had happened and he just hadn't given me a call yet. So I texted him to see if everything was okay. And he didn't respond. I wasn't immediately worried about him not responding because I know he works at night and he often sleeps during the day. And so sometimes it can take a few hours if I need to get a hold of him for him to get back in touch with me. Wasn't that big of a deal. Then a couple days had passed and I still hadn't heard from him, so I texted him again. And again, no response. And a few more days had passed. So at this point, about 5 days had passed. I had not gotten any response to my text. I had tried to call and gone straight to voicemail, tried to leave a message, but his voicemail was full. So I couldn't even leave a message for him. But I was sure at this point he knew I was trying to get a hold of him, right? Yet I still hadn't heard from him. No return call, no return text, nothing, silence. So I drove by the house. When I drove by the house, there was a car parked outside. It was his wife's car, was parked outside. There were lights on inside. The kids were playing in the backyard. Everything looked fine. So at this point, I was really thinking, okay, maybe something serious has gone on and he wasn't able to pay the rent. I tried to text him one more time because I didn't want to just go knock on the door and talk to him about not having paid the rent in front of his kids. I didn't feel like that was something that would be cool to do. I would never want to put somebody in that type of situation to have one of those difficult conversations when one, they don't know what's coming, which I guess he probably did know what's coming, but one, he didn't know it was coming at that time, and I'm not going to ask somebody to have that kind of conversation in front of their children. So I texted him and told him I had driven by and I was outside and asked if he could come outside and chat, or if another time would be a good time to come by and talk about the rent payment. And that time he returned my text and he told me, I'm gonna have to give you a call back later, I'm not home. And I said, okay, no problem. 3 more days go by. I am texting and I am calling. And so I finally texted him and said, look, we have got to talk. About an hour later, the phone rang. And this was last Saturday morning. The phone rings and I miss his call, but I called him right back. So we did get a chance to talk. And he explains to me that he has lost his job. He lost his job several weeks ago, that he has a new job, but in his new job, he's not making near as much money, and so he's not going to be able to cover the rent. And he's moving out. He's breaking his lease and he's moving out. I've never had anybody call me and say, hey, I can't pay the rent. I lost my job. I'm moving. I'm moving out. I asked him, how long do you think you'll need to get all your stuff out? And he told me he would have all his stuff out by Monday at noon. I said, okay, fine. I wish the best for you and your family. Good luck. I went by the house on Monday afternoon about 2 o'clock and they had not moved yet. There was still stuff everywhere, but his wife and her sister and some friends were there trying to get the house packed up and moved. And so I did not go in the house. I didn't bother them. I figured they're already under enough stress. They've got enough drama going on in their lives, having to move unexpectedly with a family of 4 young children, that they didn't need their landlady hanging out watching them get it done. So I left. And I told him that I would come by the next morning to pick up the keys. The next morning comes and I texted him and asked if he was ready for me to come by and pick up the keys. And he texts back and says they just need a few more hours, that they've almost got everything all cleaned up and they've almost got everything out of the house. At this point, a few more hours makes a big difference to him, but it makes absolutely no difference to me. So I said, okay, fine. Now, that was yesterday. Today, in a few minutes, the captain and I are gonna go over there and check out the condition of the house. One of the neighbors texted me and told me that there is a big, huge pile of trash out in front of the house and wants to know if I can get it taken care of as soon as possible. The answer to that is yes. But if there's a big, huge pile of trash outside the house, what am I looking at inside the house? I don't know. All right. But that's the backstory. That's what's going on. And now we're gonna go check it out, see what the house looks like, see what we can see. Let's go. So that's not great, but it's not as bad as I was expecting. I will definitely get a landscaper over here to get all of this trimmed up, cleaned up. See that? Fence is broken. I just had this fence put up 7 months ago. Why is this thing broken already? Don't know why the screens are off the house, but they definitely need to be replaced. Great, that's nothing you want to see outside your rent house. That is food and bedding for some type of rodent pet. Not that I have anything against rodent pets, but I don't want them in my house. So the power's been turned off, but it feels like it hasn't been turned off that long ago because it's still pretty cool in here. That refrigerator is theirs, and I'm guessing they're not coming back for it, so it definitely needs to go. So it doesn't look that terrible on camera, but my goodness, can you see that? This place is dirty. Like, dusty, grimy, greasy, dirty. And it looks like they might have had a dog here. The walls. I don't know if touch-up paint's gonna be enough here. The countertops still look pretty good. All right, y'all, I'm just gonna be a brat for a little bit. There is all kinds of cleaning supplies in this room, in this kitchen. There's a manual duster, there's a dust buster, there is a broom and dustpan, and there's a mop, and there are several like cleaning rags and things like that. But the house is so dirty. I don't understand that. In my mind, those things just don't go together. Let's keep looking. Yeah, they definitely had some kind of an animal living here. I could smell it. The carpet doesn't look terribly stained, but boy, it smells funky. Some staining. So I will definitely be calling the carpet cleaners. The carpet cleaning company I use also does vent cleaning, so I will be having these vents cleaned as well because they are dusty as well. There is something I am super grateful for right now, and that is that the toilets are clean. Thank God for that. Autoban, guess what? It didn't work. So overall, it's really not as bad as it could be. I'm gonna be grateful for that instead of being upset about the challenges I do have ahead of me. The first thing I need to do with this house is to get the utilities turned on in my name. Those will be turned on in my name either this afternoon or tomorrow morning. I've already put the order in. As soon as I found out they were leaving, I put the order in. I am going to arrange for a landscaper to get over here and trim back all of these bushes and trees and get this all cleaned up and looking nice and neat. And I haven't quite decided yet if I'm going to clean it myself or if I'm gonna hire a cleaning company. I'm definitely gonna have a carpet cleaning service come over and clean the carpets because they have a funky smell. And I'm also going to have them clean the vent system while they're here. Now, every single wall is in rough shape. Like there's no holes or anything, so that's good. But I'm not sure touch-up paint's gonna do it. Like it needs a lot of paint work. I might have to bring in somebody to paint. I'll know more once I get the power on and get it all cleaned up. And then I'll be able to decide on the paint. Is it something I can do myself, or do I need to bring my painter in and have him repaint the whole house? One of my favorite things that I have always loved about this house is the awesome custom cabinetry. It was here in the house when I bought it. Whoever put this in, I think it was the original owner. She lived in this house for more than 40 years. And I'm pretty sure she's the one that put in all this custom cabinetry. She did an amazing job of having the cabinetry designed, and it is so well thought out, and it is so very well done. It hurts my heart a bit to see it so filthy. I gotta get to scrubbing. So overall, what do you think, Captain?
Is there words?
Of course there's words.
It's funny how perspective's different. If we were walking this to buy it, we'd be pleased. But the fact that we've done the work is disappointing.
That's true. That's absolutely true. If we were walking this house looking at whether or not we wanted to buy it as a rental, we would be very pleased with the condition, because I'll dig out some photos of what this house looked like when we did buy it. It definitely didn't look like this. I think the hardest part for me is that it's just so dirty. We don't keep our home like this. You know, I'm not this kind of a housekeeper, but I can't tell people how they have to live in the house. It does say in my lease that they do have to keep the house to a standard level of cleanliness, and that I, as the landlord, am the final decider of what that level of cleanliness needs to be. I don't think it's dirty just because they got behind on bills and couldn't pay the rent and couldn't move out. It looks like accumulated funk stuff. So I think they just lived that way, and I'm kind of sad to see that. I am very grateful though that it's not worse than what it is. I definitely have some challenges ahead of me, but these are challenges that I can take care of within a week. I will have this house listed for rent this weekend. I won't have it all completely done and ready to be rented this weekend, but I will have it listed for rent this weekend, and I will not be ashamed to show it in its current condition, because I can explain the situation, and I can have it ready to move in, you know, next week. So all in all, while it is unexpected and it is a problem, there are much worse problems to have in the world. I'm pretty grateful that this is all I'm dealing with today. What do you think, babe?
Oh, I agree. Your assessment was dead on. There are a lot worse things out there than what this is. There's no holes in the walls. Good.
There's no holes in the walls. And we can still get this house rented and use that rental income to continue to fund our boat life. And that's the one we really enjoy. Now, a lot of people have asked me if we're going to do anything to try to collect additional funds from him, or if we're going to take any legal action for him having broken his lease. Am I going to send him a letter? Because I can tell you right now, his deposit is not going to cover all the repairs and cleaning that needs to be done to this house. And under Texas law, which is where we live and where we own our rental properties, I absolutely could try to collect additional funds from him to cover the condition of the house, to cover all of the things that need to be done to get the house back up into a presentable, reasonable condition. But I'm not going to do that. Yes, it is going to end up costing me a little bit of money, but it would cost me money to chase after him to try to collect money he doesn't have. And he's already in a situation where he had to move his family with 4 young children out of a house really quickly because he couldn't pay the rent. Obviously, he doesn't have the money to pay extra repairs and cleaning fees. So, no, I have absolutely no interest in going after him. I have no interest in taking any legal action against him for having broken his lease, because he's got enough challenges in life, and I'm just going to turn around and re-rent that house. It's not going to be a huge challenge for me to re-rent that house. I'm going to get to work doing the things I need to do, and I'm going to hope and wish for the very best for him and his family. And we're just going to move on about our business. Thanks for coming along and seeing this house with me today. I was nervous about how it was going to turn out. I was nervous about what we were going to find. I'm so grateful that it's not any worse than what it is, because all of these issues, while they are a pain, are definitely something that I can overcome. These are all definitely things I can deal with. Hey, before you go, if you enjoy seeing this kind of stuff, the problems that come along with real estate investing, as well as all the privileges that come along with being a real estate investor, primarily the boat life, please do consider subscribing to the channel. I would love to have you come along on all of these adventures with us. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to share. But I've got to get to work right now. So until I see you next time, bye y'all.